everyone, it's Ileana and I have another card to share with you today. First, let me just say that I made this card about 2 months ago and I am just now getting to narrate this. So hopefully I can remember everything that I did as I'm watching this video along with you. For today's card, I am using the Concord 9th Just Love stamp set. And I do have it mounted in my mini MISTI. I am starting off with some VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink, and I'm just going to stamp it so that I could do all of my layers. I'm going to make different variations of this card. So I'm first going to start off with my yellow, and this color combination was inspired by the back of the packaging of the Concord 9th stamp set. So I just did my best to match the colors that I had in my stash to match the back of that packaging. So for the yellow, I used Simon Says Stamp Sunshine, and the blue is Simon Says Stamp Lake Shores. I do have several MISTIs going here at the same time, so I can make multiples of this card. For this shade of green, I am using Hero Arts Moss. And for the next layer, I am using My Favorite Things Jellybean Green. Now you can stop here and you could just add the die cut, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp the color, the blue, which is Gina Tranquil Teal. I love this color of blue. I am going to stamp it a couple of times so I get a nice deep color. And you can be done here if you want, and you can just mount it, but I also am going to show you a variation where you could do the die cut that comes along with this. Now I want the card to pop a little bit more, and so once the ink is dry, I am going to stamp it again with my mini MISTI with the same Nocturne ink, and I'm going to add some clear embossing powder, and it's just going to give it a little bit of pop so that the black really stands out and it just gives you more of a finished look. I am heat setting that with my Wagner heat gun, and this card could be done if you wanted to. You can just mount it just like that on a card panel, or you could die cut it with a smaller frame, and I'm using the Simon Says Stamp stitched rectangle frames, and I'm going to mount that on some Tranquil Teal. It's just a little bit uneven, so I'm going to trim that with my guillotine trimmer. And here I'm just going to show you that you can add a little bit more to this card by adding some Wink of Stella. I'm not sure if that's what this pen is, but you know what I mean, just a shimmer pen. And you can be done with that. I really wasn't loving it all that much, so I went back and added the die cut on top of that. I did die cut this about 3 or 4 times, and I layered them together just so that it creates some dimension. And once that's done, I'm not sure what I did next, so let's see what happens. I'm just gonna, looks like I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit. Now that could be done, but you could add some bling to it, and I'm using some Studio Katia clear drops. This is the clear drops 2, and I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive so these drops will stick. I kind of really love these dots, or these drops. They look like, you know, morning dew. So I'm going to make the same card again, but I'm not going to do the outline. I'm just going to do the colors. So I'm stamping again with the Simon Says Stamp Sunshine and then the Lake Shores. Both colors are from Simon Says Stamps. And I'm going to keep adding the color until I get the depth of a color that I want. And now for the green. Once again, I'm going to be using Hero Arts Moss, and I do stamp a couple of times just because I wanted to make sure I got good coverage. And then the My Favorite Things Jellybean Green. Let's see what I do next because I don't remember. Oh, now I'm going to add the Love with the Tranquil Teal. And I'm going to stamp this a couple of times just because it was a little bit splotchy. And now you got a different look, no outline this time. This one here is dry. As you can see, it does dry back a little bit. And since it's dry, I want to go ahead and just add a little bit of color, and I'm using my Polychromos, and I'm just creating some shading with the flowers with the pencils. I'm just keeping it simple, and I'm just adding color to any of the open spaces of the flower, and that will give it a little bit of dimension. But you can most certainly add more shading with different colors. You can just create some shadows in the flowers. And I think I'm just going to do a little bit of each color just so that you could see what my thought process was. And so I'm just, like I said, adding a little bit of shading with the pencils. It's kind of strange watching myself after I've made this card a few months ago. I was gone to Houston for most of the summer, and so I had made several videos before I left and had them narrated, so I had them ready to go each week. And then the last couple of weeks I meant to have this one ready to go, except I forgot my list of supplies back home, so I needed to prepare the links to that, and so I had to wait till I got home. And then once I got home, I had all the stuff that I had to get caught up on, and so now I'm finally getting around to narrating this. So for the little blue flower, I just created some depth by doing a center and then just some strokes. And for the leaves, I created some veins, and I'm just keeping it pretty simple, as you could see, just adding a little bit of shadow. And I think that's pretty much all I do, and that gives you a totally different look from the first one. You could leave it without the shading, but there you go. Now this is the same card, except for this time I used some Delicata golds. What color is this? Delicata gold GLITZ. And so that gives you a little bit more of a classy card. Now for this card, I decided that I wanted to add a sentiment, and oops, I forgot to remove that. And so now I'm going to add the sub-sentiment to the word love. And once that's done, I can go ahead and add my embossing powder. I'm going to go ahead and heat set that. Okay, so here are the different cards that I ended up making. So you can see each one is just a little bit different, but you could get a lot of variety from this stamp set. You can just, take it up a step by adding a couple of different little layers. And I think my favorite is the one with the Delicata gold GLITZ. So the possibilities are endless. You just kind of have to think about what it is that you like and how much detail you want to add. And so thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.